gentlemen, how are we doing? Other than really disappointed. I think that's the best way of putting it. Oxford United lose 3-1 to Sunderland, and there's so much to discuss. Almost too much to discuss. We haven't got long, but let's try and put it in the most compact way we possibly can, because there's so much to talk about. And I was going to say I can't wait to talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it, but I'm really, really happy that we're all here. And hopefully you can leave a like and subscribe, of course, if you're new. Welcome to the Young Fan Podcast, of course. If it is your first time here, we've got so much to talk about, as I've just said. We've got to talk about the referee, who today had one of the worst referee performances I think I've ever seen, which is so frustrating to make. And I hate coming on here and talk about referees because, you know, you've got to look at the performance yourself. You've got to look at yourself sometimes, but the referee was absolutely shambolic today. The referee cost us the game, I think. The officials definitely cost us the game. And I know it's an easy excuse. I know it's an easy thing to talk about. And what I'll also say is, well, Oxford United, we lose the game 3-1. We actually played some really good stuff. We took the lead as well. I was generally very happy with the performance. Now, please do leave a like to the stream as well. We've got 4 people already now, but we've got 7 people in here right now. So please, every single one of you, do leave a like and subscribe if you're new. 2 red cards. Okay, I mean, technically it's only 1. The other one was, of course, our manager Carl Robinson being sent to the stands. I mean, that wasn't even an easy thing to do. We've got 9 people already right now. This is fantastic. We're starting off to a flyer. I really wish you'd come into a podcast episode though, if you knew, with a bit more higher spirits. We are coming into a podcast episode losing the game, but please do leave a like, as I can see you all doing, and welcome to the pod. But we'll get straight into, well, I think we'll start with the referee. Ahmed's already come in the chat saying embarrassing, Carl out, Frank in. I'll leave that to you, Ahmed. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a really good performance from Oxford United. And it's a real shame that it's actually going to be looked at differently. Because if we'd go on and got a point out of this game, we'd hung on at 1-1, or we'd even gone and tried and held on even when we were 1-0 up, and we'd gone and won the game. I think this would have been a performance we look back on with such proud, you know, with such a proud feeling. But we're actually looking back at it in quite a disappointing way. We've got a red card in the game, we've got a manager being sent off, and we've got a referee looking like he's never refereed a game before. Some players at Oxford United today weren't fantastic, let's be honest. Tim Wallow says, away to the lads. Well, I know, Tim, you are a Sunderland fan. Fair play to you. Fair play, you did beat us, and you beat us, I'd say, fairly comfortably in the end. But what I'd also say is, I think you got a little bit lucky, a little bit fortunate at areas. I don't think that's me being out of order. I think you were a little bit fortunate. But Tim, I'll be interested to see what you think. I certainly will. Please do keep giving your thoughts. As per usual, I'll be reading out every single one of your thoughts in the comments and in the live chat. It'll all be discussed in the podcast right now live. But we'll start with the referee. First of all, where's that 3 minutes coming from? Okay, and that first time, we took the lead with Henry's a fantastic strike. The technique on that strike is absolutely incredible. You know, to hit a ball like that, it takes some serious skill, and that's an incredible effort. But then from up till that point, though, I'd still say we were doing well. We weren't really getting dominated. Even when we went 1-0 down, we were still getting dominated as well. And I thought generally, I was really impressed with the way that we were playing. You know, we actually didn't look too phased by a really informed Sunderland side. Oh yeah, definitely, I agree. 2 red cards is a bit dodgy. You know, it is. I mean, that first one, I mean, Sykes, you know, I think today he's going to have to learn. I think he's going to learn from today to know that he's got to learn how to tackle properly and not take people out from behind and do clumsy, silly things. It's frustrating, and for a fan as well, it's one of the most frustrating things in the world when you've got a player that simply cannot tackle a man without getting booked or just giving away silly, cheap fouls, and that's frustrating. And I think Sykes will have to learn from that today, because that cost him. Silly fouls got him the first booking, and then a 50-50 challenge arguably got him the second one. And I'm not too sure about that second one. But Tim, I'm glad that you're being honest with us in saying that I definitely do think that those red cards were a little bit, well, especially the first one that under Sykes was his actual footballer, was a little bit cheap. However, that second one with Carl Robinson, and the reason why Carl Robinson was sent off the second time was because some of these decisions that were made were absolutely shambolic, and I think may cost Oxford United not just this game, but may, and it is a big maybe, may cost Oxford United the season. And why I'll say that is, if we'd won the game today, which it looked like when we had such a good start and we went 1-0 up, I thought there was a part of me that hoped that we could get something from this game, whether that be 3 points or whether that be getting all 3 and taking the maximum. Whatever that was, I hoped and thought that we could do that. However, we couldn't. But that equaliser should never be given. That equaliser should never be allowed to be taken. That free kick should never be... Sorry, no, that's the second goal. Sorry, that equaliser, that shouldn't be given because of the 3 minutes added time. And that's what I'm talking about. Where is this referee getting 3 minutes of added time from? Please explain to me where you're getting 3 minutes of added time from. I'd be intrigued to see. Because if you're a referee and you know... And I don't know if any of you referee games or study refereeing in more detail. I'm intrigued to see where 3 minutes can come from when there's not a single substitute, when the ball hasn't been out of play for a large amount of the game, and there's been no injuries, and the physios haven't had to come on from either side. So that's all possible scenarios that a physio should come onto the pitch. None of them have come on, and we're finding 3 minutes of added time. Now that's completely baffling on its own. Yeah, maybe you could argue, you've got to stay switched on. You've got to deal with that and defend it. Yes, I completely understand that, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. However, we wouldn't even have to be in that situation if the referee makes a pretty simple, very, very simple decision. That should not be given. And those 3 minutes, to allow us for them to get that equaliser is absolutely bang out of order. And you can tell by my voice, I'm extremely frustrated by it. Please do give your thoughts in the chat. I'll be reading out every single one of your thoughts, and we'll be talking about it as Ahmed has, as Tim has. I'll be reading out every single one of your people's thoughts in the live chat. But that equaliser should never be happening. That's completely bang out of order. That should not be happening. Where are you getting 3 minutes at a time from? Then obviously that we go into half time 1-1. At that point, you're probably thinking we take that. I'd have taken a point going into the game when we want them up. Of course, there's part of you that goes, this is very, very good. Could we get anything from it? But at 1-1, you sort of go, that's fine. 1-1, it's not ideal. It's frustrating to lose and equalise the game before, to be equalised on at the half-time mark. That's frustrating. Of course, it is. Hansen was done by their right winger. And Gooch finishes it off for Sunderland. That's fair play. They did that well. Yes, we have to just accept the 3 minutes without it on, and they did professionally played some very, very good stuff, as we knew Sunderland can do and did do in that situation. However, half time comes, and then we actually started the second half pretty well. We had a few opportunities. We had some fairly good opportunities, I'd say, to try and maybe get something from the game again. We were defending quite well. We were dominated. I wouldn't say we were being dominated and swarmed whatsoever. I thought we dealt with the game very, very well. And then a free kick that should never... Well, I mean, the red card happened there. We've already spoken about that Sykes red card. It's one of those, isn't it, really? It's one of those. You give away some... You do silly fouls in the first half. You get sent. You get that yellow. And then, obviously, you do a 50-50 where they're screaming, they're shouting. Fair enough. I think we probably want to be doing the same if you're trying to get a man sent off. They did exactly that, and he goes, and he's down the tunnel. That's the end of the night for him. However... what I won't accept is the next thing that happens when a free kick's given. Now, when that free kick is given and Brannigan goes down, that's fair enough. You go, right, that's a free kick. Let's go on with the game and let's just wait and see what happens from there. And then their free kick can be taken when treatment for Brannigan has happened. Now, the referee, for some reason, and I'll be, again, intrigued to see why this has happened, decides not to stop and let Brannigan have treatment and stop the game because Brannigan is down. He decides to let them take a quick free kick when we still have a player down on the pitch, obviously not influencing the game and obviously not able to help Oxford United defend this free kick. Now, I have no idea why that's allowed. I know, it's not, the game was stopped. The game was stopped. I understand if the game was carrying on and it wasn't a free kick because it's not a head injury. They don't have to stop the game if it's not a head injury. But what I won't accept is because the game has stopped. The free kick has been given. Brannigan doesn't even stand up. He stays on the floor. He stays on the ground. He then lies down and waiting for treatment. But the referee allows to take that. It allows the Sunderland to take the quick free kick. Now, I do not have any idea whatsoever. Normally have an answer for everything. If you watch the podcast and you just know me, I always seem to sort of try and maybe find a solution or maybe try and find something that maybe could be the reason why that decision was made by the referee. But in this situation, I cannot find a single idea. I don't have a single clue on earth why that cannot be given. He didn't even stand up. It wasn't like he stood up, a free kick was given, then he sat back down. Because in that situation, yes, that's obviously, that's obviously you're allowed to take the free kick then because he stood up. He's now affecting the play. However, when he sat on the floor, unless he's going to sit on the floor and tackle and chase and defend from the ground, lying down, he's not influencing the game whatsoever. And in that situation, and in that case, surely in that situation that has to be given as, yeah, you can take the free kick. I'm not moaning about the free kick, but obviously in that situation then you wait for the treatment to happen, and then Sunderland take the free kick after. Now, some will argue, well, what's the difference between if Brannigan has to be taken off and you're defending, you're then defending the free, even without Brannigan, because he's on the sideline, because he's been taken to the sideline because he's getting treatment, and then the free kick's taken. Yes, I understand, that's absolutely fine, because in that situation, we'd have time to reset, and we'd had time to actually be able to stop the free kick. However, in this situation, we've got a player down, and they've taken it quickly. How is that? I really don't understand how that can be given, and how the referees come to that decision to think that's the right decision, because it's not. It's the wrong decision. A Sunderland fan can come in here. He can come in the live chat right now. Tim's already said it. He said we're unlucky, and even if Tim said we weren't unlucky, I wouldn't change my opinion on it. I generally think that is an absolutely horrific decision. If there's any Sunderland fans that want to come in the comments when this podcast comes out as a video, that's fine. I'll have a discussion with you about it. If any referees want to come in the comments and talk about it, if any of you referee football, either that professionally, semi-professionally, I've done a bit of refereeing, but not obviously anywhere near to this standard. I'm talking, six-a-side football. This is not, I'm not in this situation. But if you've got any idea why that should be given and why they've come to that decision, I'll be absolutely intrigued. And then after that, understandably, we're fuming as fans, and everyone part of Oxford United are absolutely fuming as to why that decision has been made. And then after that, just to make things even better, Carl Robinson, understandably, is extremely frustrated with that decision, and then obviously is then obviously going to be extremely frustrated, then goes to the fourth official, says whatever he says, he gets himself into a lot of trouble, and then obviously in that situation, you get normally a yellow card. Maybe, I don't know what was said, I don't know whether, how offensive Carl Robinson was towards that fourth official. I guess quite offensive, it's gone for a straight red card, and that we can't judge, because that's something that as fans we don't hear what's being said, and we can't really see what's being said. Yeah, the camera's down there, after he's, shouting and pointing, all that sort of thing, but generally we don't know how to judge that situation. That is a red card that you can sort of understand. But this should never have happened, because the referee makes blatant decisions, and we'll come on to individual players as well. We've been speaking about the referee a lot, and I want to talk about how I thought Oxford United were generally very good today. I thought Oxford United played some really, really good football, and like we said, for a lot of the game and for periods of this game, and I'd say for large proportions of this game, Oxford United were the better team, dominated Sunderland, and you wouldn't really think at any point Sunderland were in the form they are, because Oxford United dealt with them very, very well. Yes, when Sunderland were on it, you could tell, this is a very, very good side that you've got to watch out for their top quality. But generally, Oxford United dealt with them quite well. And that makes it even more frustrating, to be honest, the fact that we generally were a good, generally we were quite good. That's, if we'd been outclassed, beaten by Sunderland beat us fair and square, you sort of go, that's absolutely fine. Well, not absolutely, that's absolutely fine, but you wouldn't be as frustrated because you don't feel like you have too much of a say in it anyway. However, when you do, and when you have played some good football and the officials basically rob you of anything from the game, then that's fine. Now, someone will say, well, what's wrong with the third goal, Jack? The third goal hasn't affected you at all, and the referees haven't affected you with the third goal. They haven't, no, but we wouldn't be in that situation, would we? We wouldn't be chasing the game. We wouldn't be in that position if the referees weren't affecting the game. What I would say is, Grayson coming on and the substitutes. At what point does Carl Robinson and the coaching staff think that when you're in a position where you need to get a goal, you're bringing on Grayson and you're bringing on Sam Winnell? Now, I can sort of understand Sam Winnell because he's a striker. But how much service has our striker got in the entirety of that game leading up to when Sam Winnell comes on? He gets nothing. Matty Taylor hasn't really had any good service through the game. So we're going to bring on a striker, Sam Winnell, who we know is very, very good when, he gets on the end of crosses, whether that's, with his head or, he probably, we haven't seen it yet, but I can guess he's a striker. He's a poacher's finisher. He's a poacher's striker. He can get on the end of things, whether that be a volley, whether that be a tap-in, whether that be any of these different situations. You think and hope that he can do that. But we're bringing on a striker that relies on service that we haven't given for any of the game. Now, I'll leave that one to you. Matthew says, playoffs over. I don't know, mate. I think, to be honest with you, if I'm being quite... Matthew, how you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream. And the answer to your sort of question, you put question marks there, so I'll sort of answer it as if it is a question. I'll be interested to see what everyone else thinks. Lads, is playoff over? Girls, lads, whoever we've got watching, is playoffs over? Are they over? Is the hopes and dreams of the playoffs finished? Top six, end of the season for Oxford United finished? In my opinion, I don't think it's finished. I wouldn't say it's over. I'd say it's been hit quite hard today. I think we've been hit quite hard. We've had a bit of we've had a punch. I wouldn't say it's been in the face. I wouldn't say it's in the private areas. I'd say it's in the stomach. It hurts a little bit. It could damage us. It's been a bit of a hit. but we're not knocked out. I think that's the most important thing. We're not completely knocked out. We've got games coming up that we need to be taking advantage of. However, today, when we're 1-0 up, I dreamt, I'm not going to lie, I really did dream that we get something from the game. It wasn't to be. That's the way it is. But you hope, don't you? You do hope. And I think playoffs is dented. I think that's the best way of putting it. The hopes and dreams are dented today because it's a 3-1 defeat. And when you lose games, we look at the league table. I've got it up here, as I always do. I'm looking at the league table. They are dented. They are affected in not the great way. We are sat in 11th and we are now 4 points off the playoffs with teams above us having a game in hand, some even 2 games in hand on us. So yeah, it isn't looking very, very good at this point. However, we've got Accrington on Monday, which is a huge game at 3 o'clock as well. So I'll be obviously covering that. But, you know, we look at that sort of thing. It's difficult, isn't it? It's a really, really difficult position to be in. I think they're dented, Matthew. I think that's the best way of putting it. But again, I'm intrigued to see what you people think of that. Joseph Warwick says another quality display by Trevor Kettle. Yeah, the referee was. We've already spoken about that. You know, Trevor Kettle. I mean, he refereed. I was going to try and make a joke about the second name Kettle, but nothing really came to me naturally. But he was horrific. He was absolutely horrific. Matthew says, I have always thought Carl's subs are questionable. To be honest, mate, they are questionable. I like Matt. I like Carl Robinson. I really, really do. I spoke about it in the Nick Harris episode. How much we really like Carl Robinson. How much of a manager. He's very, very, very good. But these substitutions, I don't understand. Sam, you know, Grayson now, when he came on, he's cost us that third goal. It's a 5-yard pass. It's a very, very simple pass. No one's pressing him. No one's pushing towards him. He's just given them the ball. And that confuses me. No, that absolutely baffles me, what Grayson is doing in that situation. I really, really don't understand what Grayson's doing in that situation. And if anyone can explain to me what he thinks he's doing, I'll be baffled. But why are we bringing on players like Grayson who clearly, and I don't want to be too harsh, but he hasn't shown me anything. He hasn't shown the fans anything to suggest that he's a very, very good footballer. Northampton, or he's a good footballer, but not at this level. Not first team Oxford United level right now. Not in the battle of a League One crunch game. This is a League One game that's so important for Oxford United. I don't think he's up for it, to be honest, boys. I really don't. Tim Miller says a bit of conspiracy in your form over the last few games could make all the difference. Maybe it could. It really, really could. It really, really could, Tim. But it was a really, really good result against Lincoln. It was a really, really good result, and I really wanted to say, and I said it again. Can we take a huge result like that into this next game? I don't think we did in terms of performance, but in terms of result we didn't, and results matter. Performance, it's coming down to results. Come the end of the season when it's the decision between a promotion and playoffs or not, no one's going to stand there and sit there with you and go, you didn't make it because you didn't have enough points or goal difference. However, you put in a decent first half performance against Sunderland, or you put a few good spells in against it. No one's going to say that. It's about points and it's about results, and at the moment, today, we didn't get it. However, that Lincoln one could be big, and we've got Accrington, like we said, on Monday, but it's a results business. It's so important that we do get them. But like I keep saying, it's a results business. Wins need to be happening. They need to be coming. They really, really do. Matthew Bell says, when he takes Taylor off, it's usually for winners. Surely you'd keep Taylor on for a double threat. Surely you do. Surely you take... Did Shadipo last the game? I don't think... No, he didn't. He came off, didn't he? I know the Sykes red card didn't help tactically how you do it. When you lose a midfielder like that, obviously you'd hope that if Sykes stayed on the pitch and didn't get sent off, you could then take Sykes off, go with Sam Winnell, then go with the two up front like that. That's a possibility, and that wasn't something that Carl Robinson could do because he's already gone. But at the same time, I think when you're bringing on players like Grayson, like Sam Winnell, they're not affecting you. They're not affecting the game. They're not going to affect the game. If it was a game where Oxford United were firing balls into the box and they were whipping balls in that were destined for someone to get at the end of it and destined for someone to get back in the far post header in, and you'd be like, yeah, Sam Winnell, that makes sense. But it wasn't a game for that. It was a game of keeping it on the deck, and we didn't really put any balls in at all. So why are we doing that? Why are we putting ourselves in a situation where we're playing? We're bringing on players to fit a style that we're not playing. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. It really, really doesn't. I don't quite understand where you tactically think that that's a sensible decision. And substitutes for me, yeah, like Matthew says, they are questionable. And we look at the league table. We are falling because of other results not going our way. Games again today that happened. We talk about Doncaster did lose, but Ipswich won, Charlton won, Blackpool won, Portsmouth won, Sunderland of course won. Those are all teams that are in the battle with us that are beating us. And that's the situation that we're in right now. We've got 11 people in here. People, this has been a great stream in terms of numbers, in terms of people interacting, chatting and liking. I've absolutely loved it. I didn't love the performance at all, but I really did like you all getting involved. And we're not done yet. Please do stay here. And please do leave a like if you haven't already. All of you, leave a like. All 11 of you. Surely there's 4 of you. Maybe not 4. Maybe there's 3 or 2 of you that aren't subscribed. We're on the road to 200 subscribers right now. Okay, we're on 195 subscribers, 196 guys. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's 196. 1 of you, or 2 of you, or even 3 of you, please do subscribe. We're on the road. I've got a really, really exciting podcast episode coming out very, very soon. But we're not done talking about this game yet because I want to hear more from you. I want to hear a man of the match because I think we want to talk man of the match because there were some good performances. There were some really, really positive performances from Oxford United today. We didn't get the result. It's not what we want, but there will be some good performers, and I think we got to talk about them. Let's have our man of the match. Get yours in the chat. I'll be reading out every single one of yours as well. If you want to give a reason as well, because I'll be reading your reasons out. But yeah, every single one of you, get your thoughts in the comments, get your thoughts in the live chat. Everything will be discussed as per usual. And if you don't know why you should subscribe, this is what we do after every single Oxford United game. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for this. Get subscribing, get watching, get interacting in the live chat. I'll give my man of the match while I wait for you to give yours. I've just seen Joseph's come in, and Joseph says Grayson was laughing at the end of the game with the guy who's awful. Yeah, and that's something as well. I'm going to discuss it now. I've got to be very, very careful. I'll always be very, very careful. I'm not going to attack a player, and I'm not going to because I don't know Grayson. I don't know him as a lad. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. But when you lose a game, and he's going to have to get used to this if he wants to become a top class footballer, a top class club. You've got to learn, and you shouldn't need to learn it, but someone's got to tell him, you can't be laughing after the game when you've just handed someone a goal. You cannot be laughing because what you're doing there basically is laughing at the fans. The fans today, it's not free. You know, this game is not free for people to watch. It's not free at all, really, is it? But it's not like it's a home game. If you've got a season ticket, you get that game technically for free. This game, everyone has to pay to watch this game. Everyone, whether you're at a ground or whether you watch this at home, you have to pay to watch Oxford United. And we do it, and I do it, and we all do it. If you're not a United fan, maybe you don't, but generally I do it, and a lot of you do it because we love the club and because we love supporting the club. And I adore this football club. This is why I've got a podcast surrounding a large majority of content surrounding them. And that's why we love them. However, you're basically mocking us if you're going to stand and laugh there. Now, he may not be laughing at what he did, and I really hope he's not laughing at the mistake he made, because if you are, then you've got to really take a hard look at yourself. However, even when you're laughing, when you know that we don't know what you're laughing about, it's not like you're walking around with a t-shirt with a joke on, and people, it's not like Max Power's got a little joke under his shirt, and you've just showed him, then you're laughing at that, because then we know what you're laughing at. But when you're walking out of the game with you're just laughing at a player you've just handed a goal to, it really doesn't make you look that good. And I really think that's going to cause a lot of debate, and I really hope it's going to be spoken about. Not because I want Grayson to get stick and abuse for it, because I don't think anyone should deserve that. And I know it's a game, it's an entertainment business, 100%. But you are mocking the fans if you're laughing about it. Now, if Brannigan comes off and laughs, which would never have happened, because I don't think I've seen Brannigan smile even a little bit when we lose a game, or even draw a game sometimes with Cam, but you cannot laugh and you cannot be seen smiling when you come off the pitch when you've just done that. You can't even be seen smiling when you've lost a game and you're nothing to do with it. If you're a sub, you can't be smiling. But if you've come on and handed a goal to someone, you're walking into a firing line with the fans if you're going to start laughing. I'm just saying, Grayson, please, you can't be doing that. That is taking the piss a little bit at the fans. Joseph says more man of the match. Joseph says or Barker. Yeah, some good options there. Some really, really good options from you, Joseph. Anyone else got more man of the matches? I'll give mine while we talk about it. We look at the starting lineup. We've got Stevens, Hansen, Atkinson, Moore, Ford, Brannigan, Sykesy, Henry, Barker, Taylor, Shadipo. I didn't think Shadipo had a bad game, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he did. I thought Taylor didn't have a bad game really either. Don't think Barker did. I thought Barker was good. I think I'd probably give Barker man of the match. I actually thought Henry had a good game as well when he was playing. I thought Henry, you do see how much you do miss Henry sometimes. I thought he was extremely good. I thought he influenced the game with a great deal. I thought it was very, very good, James Henry. And I thought Barker making that goal as well. He just drove through these players. I thought that was some great work from Brandon Barker. But some really good performances in a defeat for Oxford United, and that shows that there are positives and there is something to take from this game. You don't know it's a loss, isn't it? But there are positives to be taken from it, and the fans definitely should be taken from the game. We've got 9 people in there right now. Every single one of you, give your subscribe first of all if you're we're on the road to 200. But please do give your thoughts on this game. But not only that, give your man of the match. It doesn't have to be a reason. Just give your man of the match, and I'll talk about it and we'll discuss it. And give any more questions. If you didn't watch the game, you can ask questions. Of course, we'll be answering that. I will be, and so will the chat as well. But give your thoughts in the live chat. I want to be discussing it with you. I'll have a drink as well. My mouth's getting a little bit dry talking constantly for half an hour, but we love it and it's great fun. It's not beer. It's actually apple juice, but just information, just some minor information for you people. I thought Brannigan in that sitting role as well. Gorin's still injured, of course. I thought Brannigan in that sitting role was good today. I think he was a little bit. I don't think he'll be spoken about as much, but I thought generally. He was very, very good and a very, very helpful player. As we always know, Brannigan can be, but we normally see him more, further forward in that centre mid role. But generally, in that defensive midfielder, I thought he looked very, very solid. I've already mentioned about James Henry. I thought he influenced the game really, really well. We've seen him be injured and we've now seen him come back into this team. He was very, very good against Lincoln. And today he was influencing the game with a great deal and really, really positively, which I love about James Henry. That's the same with Sykes as well. He got sent off and it wasn't a great game for Sykes. He's going to get a little bit of stick for it because you get sent off in a very, very important game. When you're 1-1, it's important that you're giving everything for the team and everyone's there fighting for the badge and fighting to get something out of this game. When you get sent off, you're letting yourself and your teammates down, but it's Sykes in it, so I guess it's alright. We like Sykes, but no, I think generally looking at it from a footballing intelligent point of view, it's not ideal him getting sent off. Of course it's not. I thought Stevens made some really good saves as well. Jack Stevens, they had a few opportunities, Sunderland, of course, and Stevens I thought was really, really good. He did keep us into the game a lot of the time. And Matthew says we're really missing Sam Long's threat from overlapping runs. We are. We really, really are. And Ruffles, of course, we talk about that lineup. Ford back at right back and Hansen now at left back. These are options and sort of makeshift decisions that Carl Robinson is having to make because of injuries to Ruffles and Long, two very, very important players. We look how, if you'd say which 2 players are the most important to this team, you're talking about your players like your Longs and like your Ruffles. They've been so good with the assist and with the goals. They've been so important, and they weren't there. They're not there today. They're not there. Matthew, who's your man of the match, mate? Give your thoughts in the comments, Matthew. I want to hear from you as always. But Matthew, please do give yours, and that's the same for everyone. But no, you talk about players being very, very influential, and you know the players that are extremely important to this team. Obviously Long and Ruffles already this season have been fantastic. They're not there at the moment. They're not part of this team, and that's disappointing and that's frustrating. Obviously injuries happen in football, we know that, but it's disappointing. It really, really is. It's difficult. I thought, and by the way, I don't think Hansen had a bad game today. I thought he got absolutely skinned for the first goal, but generally I thought Hansen was okay. I thought he intercepted the interceptions that he should be making quite well, and I thought generally he came into that left back role pretty well. Same with Ford as well. I don't think Ford had an awful game. I really don't. I thought he's quite decent. Atkinson more hasn't been in training. We now found out for the whole of the week after him being ill as well, but he's starting today in that back 4. But we needed more, didn't we? Because we look at that back 4. I know McNally's was on the bench today, which is exciting, but generally we need the most experienced and well-known back 4 this season for Oxford, and that is what we're going to have to deal with when we've got injuries to really important players being our fullbacks. I thought our midfield ticked quite well. We haven't got Gorin, he's still out injured, but like I said, Brannigan started in there quite well, and that front 3 of Barker, Taylor, Shodipo, some really, really important players in that front 3. I don't think Taylor had a bad game just because he didn't score. I think that's a pretty arrogant and more ignorant thing to say. When a striker doesn't score, he's had a bad game. I thought generally Matty Taylor was pretty good, and we talk about Shodipo as well and Barker influencing the game. We talk about Shodipo learning a lot and maybe not being there right now, but generally Shodipo is good and can affect games really, really well. Matthew says my man of the match was Barker, mate. Fair play. I think we can all agree. Well, we're not all agree, but I know a lot of people can agree with Matthew there saying that Barker was man of the match. He was very, very good. We're seeing once again why Barker is a fantastic player and why he's influencing games in this division extremely, extremely well. Please do leave a like as well. We've had so much interaction and we've had so many people come in here and it's been fantastic. It's been a great podcast episode. Even when it's not a great result, it's been good. I've got tomorrow's episode of the podcast. We've got wait, can I show the thumbnail? Can I show the thumbnail? I don't know if I can, but we've got a really, really good positive episode coming out and a really, really exciting one. Not Oxford United related, actually. Actually looking at the Premier League as well. If we've got any Premier League fans in the chat, we've got any Premier League fans at all. It doesn't have to be a Premier League fan. I'm not a Premier League fan necessarily. I don't really have a Premier League club that I support. I love Oxford, but it follows interest in that league. I've got a really, really exciting one coming out, and subscribe if you don't want to miss it, because it's one that you definitely should be looking, keeping your ears peeled, and eyes, mainly eyes. And this is the thumbnail. This is the podcast. This will be coming out tomorrow, which is very, very exciting. And it is Expectation versus Reality Premier League Edition. We're going to be looking at every Premier League club's expectation at the start of the season and comparing it to how it actually went on and their reality campaign. So really, really interesting. I'm sure it's going to cause a lot of debate. But this Easter, I really want to try and get some really, really good podcast episodes out. I'm going to be bringing quite a few out over the Easter period because I want to make it a really, really good sort of month and stuff like that. So this is the thumbnail. I don't know if you can see. Can you see this? Hang about. Let's have a look. It's on my other laptop thingy. So I'll have to bring it, so hopefully it's not... There we go. Can you see this? Is this able for you to see? No. I don't think you can. That's not very helpful, is it? Oh, well, apologies for that, boys. It was an attempt that I attempted to show you, but apparently that won't be happening. But basically, it's a tier list episode of the podcast, but you can't see the thumbnail. But there you go. Excited. It's coming out tomorrow at 6 o'clock. It might be 7, actually. I don't know quite. Probably 7 o'clock. But yeah, look forward to that. Hopefully you will. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Like I said, this will be going up as a video. So if you watch this as a video and you've got this far, bloody hell, you've lasted 32 minutes. Thank you very much. Please do leave a like. Subscribe, like I said, if you're new. This has been Jack. And I've been Jack. This has been the Young Fan Podcast. Hopefully you have a good weekend. This is a Friday. This is weird. It's a Friday. It's a Friday at 3 o'clock. What's going on? Hopefully you have a good weekend. Have a good rest of your Friday. Have a good Saturday. Have a good Sunday. Have a good week. And I'll see you on Monday though, because I will be seeing you on Monday. It's a 3 o'clock on Monday, if I'm correct. So we'll be back straight after about 20 past 5, like this, 5:15 on Monday, talking about that game against Accrington. Hopefully it's a positive one. Hopefully it's a win. Thank you everybody that's been part of it. Thank you everybody that's been